y'all?
Good. Sorry. Notifications. All right. Hello.
So
Hi, guys.
where is everybody? Well, I'm a
I'm in
All
bit.
the
over the
Forbidden Zone.
world.
Yeah, I'm in the Forbidden Zone actually right now. I'm in the caves.
I'm
Well,
outside
you're
of
not.
it.
I'm in Portland, Oregon, where it is currently 110 degrees and I
But
want to die.
I'm
yeah,
in
it's unbelievable.
yeah, I'm in New Jersey. It is close to 100 degrees and the humidity has made an air quality alert. And I'm very tan because I was outside yesterday and I'm radiating apparently. So
I said you're glowing. You're glowing because
glowing,
you're out
glowing.
in the sun because you're a little glistening.
Yeah, I'm sun-kissed.
And I am in the West Midlands of England, and it's not hot at all. It's cold and rainy and cloudy.
What do you live in England?
Yes, I do. For the
Oh, how
time being,
cool.
I do. Well, thank y'all so much for coming. I mean, you guys are cult musical royalty. I mean, it's such an honor to see y'all and to meet y'all.
Well, very kind of you to say. From the underground, here we are in the underground.
It's so surreal. So I'm James, by the way, and we're just gonna go around to our co-hosts to ask you questions about the project that you guys have coming up, but also your tenure with Forbidden Zone. So who wants to go first?
I think our super fan Helena should.
Helena
Um,
adores you so much.
I love the Forbidden Zone. I've got my Forbidden Zone tattoo.
Oh,
I'm
Oh,
I've got
cool.
I've got my Betamax copy of Forbidden Zone with the bottom flap completely intact, as if I transported it here. I've got my Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks. My friend, actually, I saw during COVID when you posted about this that you needed rednecks. So my friend is down in LA and I had him go and be one of your rednecks. He's like the guy who's like right on your left, I think, during the redneck scene when she's shooting the ping pong balls out of her coochie.
yeah, that was actually Anastasia did 5 parts in that film, and that was her as
Oh,
the
fun.
as the young
Young
Yep.
Ma.
young
That's awesome. But yeah, I am a super fan. I go way back with Forbidden Zone, and thank you for making that movie. It changed my life.
Whoa, thank you, thank you. By the way, we were in Portland not long ago.
Yes, I was out of town, or I would have been able to go, which sucks.
Yeah, it was a cool place. It was very nice
Yeah,
people.
that theater is about as big as the TV that's in my basement. But I love it. They show so many good things there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good festival.
Nice.
So yeah,
Holly?
music. We're inspired by music. The film we just did, Bloody Bridget, that Anastasia and I produced, I wrote and directed, she starred, had music again by Danny Elfman, Ego Plum, and we had two Oingo Boingo covers, Ain't It the Life and Dead Man's Party, and then some stuff from Danny's new things. And we've just been spending the week with Danny. He's just written 16 more songs for a
Well,
new album.
yeah, don't say too much. Yeah, we literally just got in the door from traveling, so
Um,
we're still vibing from the traffic.
Yeah.
that's
You
a,
guys are probably glowing as well, I imagine.
Yeah, underneath all this makeup, definitely. I
Oh,
actually got a bad sunburn just from sitting in the shade, the reflection. But I catch on fire very easily, vampire.
same,
Vampirus.
totally.
Holly?
yeah, sure. I mean, my introduction to your work, Richard, with Forbidden Zone, was in my college years, so 20 years ago. It was actually the original black and white Blu-ray, not even Blu-ray, DVD of it.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, like I had no idea what I was in for. It just blew my mind, because I was going to film school at the time, and to see just like something like this, which is very, very much like what I'm into. Like I loved Oingo Boingo, and knowing like this is the Oingo Boingo movie and the type of filmmaking, that very DIY look to it. So like when I find out a few years later it's been colorized, and I'm like, why would they ever do that? But then finding out like that was your intention for this film to be colorized and basically be like a living cartoon. At
Yeah,
first
there
I'm
were
like, I was like, is he going George Lucas and making a special edition that nobody asked for? But I see that like now that you have the ownership of this again. And it's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing because now it's like your vision finally accomplished.
Well, believe it or not, we're putting out an ultimate soundtrack that'll have music that never made it into the film.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's something we're working on, and I went broke way before the film was finished,
Yeah.
and we didn't have CGI then.
Mhm.
There was a handful of things I wanted to change, and I've only been the last couple of years got everything the way I wanted finally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's so cool. And it just like it's been great to like learn from your works too that some like I'll call you an artist because that's what you are. Some artists kind of like you don't want to say like to go mainstream or whatever, but you've kept the consistency of just like this wild vision that you've had throughout your work. And when we get to talking about Bloody Bridget, I was just talking with my co-host before you logged on. I think it's probably like your best work. It's so brilliant and smart. Like it just blew my mind that like this is so it's pointed and it's great and it's like I have a lot of thoughts that I'll talk about later on, but yeah.
Well, so kind to say, talk about streams or the mainstream. The only stream I came near was at a black tie pool party. I threw the head of a studio in tuxedo and all, and that might have kept me out of the mainstream for a bit.
What's the story behind that?
It's did you ever see The Player with Tim Robbins?
Yes.
It was the man that it was about, the actual player, that was the guy. But it's a long. I mean, everybody was drunk. It was a full moon.
Yeah.
I had a big real estate portfolio, before the next crash. And I'm a musician. I've played a lot. I'm a percussionist. It was like an Afro-Brazilian percussion group, just wailing, beautiful people. And then this guy with his bimbo walking past them said, why can't they get some real music? And it cut these guys. It was like the biggest night of their career. So I picked the fuck up, carried him to the pool, and he had like a vampiric power that I was never going to work again. He had tuberculosis, whatever. He went in, and if you could have seen him struggling out in the wet tuxedo, and everybody he worked with loving it. And then I went back to the musicians and apologized for his behavior.
That's wild.
Sure.
That sounds
Sounds
like a
like an
character. That doesn't even
80s
sound like an actual person.
It sounds like an 80s movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, he should have watched out. I mean, you were a boxer, right? I mean, you really could have given him one.
Yeah. It's I mean, I've done other art related stunts.
I love it. That whole
Yeah.
early 80s thing of like just being punk like that. I mean, that's why I love your work so much.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Art is life. Life is theater. I'm married to my favorite actress.
Aw.
Oh, we rehearsed that. Good job.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Did I say
Well
it
done.
right, honey? But we've been like the last 10 years doing screenings, Forbidden Zone and other stuff, where we put on live kind of shows. She does dark burlesque. I enlist local musicians. Found a great band in Portland, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so we put on a live pre-show, which is a little like the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, which was a musical theatrical troupe, and Forbidden Zone largely based on my Mystic Knight show.
That's fantastic. I actually just found, because I had been waiting for this, since the 90s when I became a fan of all of this, I discovered they had like a fully recorded show on YouTube and I watched it and I was just like, 1995 me would be literally, digging her grave to lie down in it and cover herself over after having watched that. So I was really happy to finally get to see that because that's my lament is that I was not in LA in the late 80s and during that time because that is something I would have gone to. I would have gone to see X, just that's high on my list. So.
Well, Danny's been doing shows that they call it Boingo to Batman.
Yeah.
Where they
Wow.
music from Oingo Boingo from his films and then from his newer things.
Yeah, I would, there's no one that I can sell a kidney to. I guess I'm not anybody's type because I've been trying to get tickets to one of those.
Yeah, but those aren't any like they're not like Mystic Night shows. They're like more like
Yeah.
Oingo Boingo,
Oh,
you know, and his
big
new and things
rock
like that. The
concert.
scores, you know. So they're
Yeah.
like different vibe, but still so amazing because you know he swore off live performance, so it's so wonderful every time we have to go.
Oh, you have to go.
Yeah,
Oh,
you gotta
oh,
go.
I was fortunate enough to see when Danny was doing the concerts, like again, like I think it was like 10 years ago he did it in Lincoln Center in New York City, and I took my now wife to the show. We were like second row.
Nightmare
Like
show, right?
it was a nightmare, but it was like everything else that he's composed. And he threw in a little bit of like Oingo Boingo. I think Paul Rubens was there, and
Yeah,
Catherine O'Hara, and it was just
yeah.
such a magical night. Like I was transfixed by the works. I mean, it's
I
truly
went to a
incredible.
couple of those at the Hollywood Bowl. This last one was so fun. It was great to see Paul and everybody. Unfortunately, I got food poisoning from Hollywood Bowl food, which I will never do again.
Oh
But
no.
it was
Oh
so great to go
no.
see. It was a ridiculous Hollywood toilet bowl. You know,
A glowing review.
Well, anyway, on that note, that's a hard act to follow.
How are we gonna
Um,
segue?
James
I
can do
was a
it.
huge fan of Forbidden Zone because I loved cult musicals. That was my thing. I liked non-traditional musicals. And so when I was about 13 or 14, that's when I first discovered Forbidden Zone because I had been introduced to Rocky Horror and then Shock Treatment and Hedwig. And so I loved Forbidden Zone's irreverence. I loved its beauty. I loved its cartoon-like, cool world sort of feel. But I also loved the players that you all had involved. Yourself, of course, your cult musical royalty, but the Kipper kids and the late great Susan Tyrrell, who I always say is the queen of the cult musical, because she was in so many great cult musicals. So it's just great to see all this avant-garde, kitschy, campy icons together on film in a wonderful musical. And I love to revisit Forbidden Zone because you see all these great artists together. And yes, it's a musical. Yes, it's a cult musical, but I like to consider it like an avant-garde campy masterpiece because you have all these campy icons together who are picked for very specific reasons to be in the film. It's not just because they were cast for this reason or another. They're in the film because they had something to contribute to it. And the music's great. And people just love Forbidden Zone. It means a lot to people. And you mean a lot to people.
You're so kind. It's a good thing I have the hat on because my head would swell hearing all those fine words. But no, I had a very scientific casting process. Matthew Bright, who played Squeeze It Henderson and did some on the film, went to school with my brother Danny. We went to different high schools, and Matthew was one of the original Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo. And
Oh,
at the
wow.
time, Hervé Vilches was his roommate, and Hervé was screwing Susan. And there we go.
Who wasn't? Oh,
That
And,
makes me love her even more.
and I won't share you her descriptions.
It's
write
really
it down,
like,
put it in a safe deposit box because
yeah.
we'll want to know that in the future, but maybe not right.
Yeah. She was held nothing back, bowls out,
That's why
of
we love her.
immense talent that I was very fortunate to work with. And, we became friends for years after.
What I love about Forbidden Zone is a lot of the cult musicals that we love have been mainstreamized, if that's a word. Like Rocky Horror is being remade and it's been pumped on t-shirts and toys. And the great thing that I love about Forbidden Zone is that it still has an underground feel to it. And I think that you all have never lost the integrity with Forbidden Zone. You've kept it really close to you and you've kept it really sacred. And you've done subsequent projects. But what I really love and really applaud you for is that you have been really protective of Forbidden Zone, which I think is really admirable.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And for Forbidden Zone 2, uh, I came close. I've come close half a dozen times to making it, but it's just, it's a similar formula to Forbidden Zone 1 in that look for music that's unfucking forgettable. That
Nice.
people just don't hear anymore. Cab Calloway, Duke Ellington, Josephine Baker.
Mm.
Uh, so anyway, so I've got all the music picked out, but the cost of the older music has gone up 10 times. Uh, and then the new music with, my brother and Ego, I've got the new music, but it's a similar formula. It's not quite the same story. There's a different king and queen of the underworld, a different family comes out. It's just as zany, just as profane. And we've actually got a lot of the music written, and it's just a matter of clearing that budget bar. We did a fundraiser. It did well.
Yeah.
Did these
Yeah.
budgets, did the art, everything. A company was going to do it, but what happened, like you spend a year and then they go out of business. You don't get a phone call right away that it's not happening. It's just
Right.
you start getting less returns on the phone calls, kind of how Hollywood works. But Forbidden Zone 2 is my bucket list film. Uh,
Oh,
That's awesome.
God,
So can you divulge any of the songs you're waiting for clearance on?
no, oh yeah, it cost a fortune. Well, not just a fortune.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
Pico and Sepulveda couldn't have set you back that much.
Well, back then, I mean, we would have got these clearances in 77, 78. Cab Calloway gave me one for $500. He was a prince.
oh
And,
wow.
things just weren't that expensive then. Uh, but, it's
Like I
going to
said, in
happen
truth,
in
Pico
Zone
and
2.
Sepulveda is where nobody's dreams come true. I've been there. The closest thing to a dream coming true there is a donut shop. That's about it.
Yeah.
So I do have a question. Where did the idea, I know it came out of, the Oingo Boingo troupe, but where did these hilarious un-PC lines come from? They're so genius, and it really is representative of a time where people didn't give a shit, which I love and long for. But where did some of these brilliant lines come from, and the brilliant sort of uh artistic choices come from? Did it come from your mind? Did it come from a dream?
Well, they say, don't drink and drive, but it's okay to write and drink.
Mm.
Mhm. I love that.
Hell yeah.
That's brilliant.
Now,
Also,
Helena and Polly have some really interesting questions and some want to dote on you about y'all's new project because they were telling me about it. And I love voodoo mythology. That's one of the things that I absolutely love.
well,
So
you're
when
going to
they
love
told me
Bloody
about,
Bridget.
yeah, Maman Brigitte and Baron Samedi, I love those characters. So Polly and Helena, do y'all want to? We were just raving about it before
Yeah.
you came in. Do you all want to talk about that?
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it this morning, and I followed you on socials about it, and then you emailed me last night with the whole like media package. So my first thoughts was like, oh, it's gonna be a vampire movie. But then watching it, and then you bring in voodoo and Baron Samedi, and I had no idea about these connections.
Oh,
I have family from the Caribbean, so it's not really something that like you bring up. So it was one of those like, wow, like there's connections here that like I think are just so when you see something like that in a film, like the filmmaker is a smart person. But then when you could also be gross and stupid and do all like the things that just make it, a Richard Elfman movie. And that's what I love about your work. And Anastasia, like you were incredible. Like seriously, like I knew that you played 5 supporting roles in your previous film, but you carried this. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what more I could say without just saying like it's probably one of the best films that I've seen so far this year. And that's saying a lot. I'm not trying to gas anybody up, but like really well done. And I hope that, it gets a large or a bigger release than, what you anticipate because it's so smart.
well, thank
It's
you.
funny.
We've actually won 20 festivals so far. But
Awesome.
yeah. Here's okay. So I'm an Afro-Latin percussionist. I've been since I was 15. I've played professionally since I was 18. We're still in a band. And when you study the music, particularly Afro-Cuban music, you get into West Africa and particularly Yoruban deities. Each deity has a rhythm, and you could still hear them in Cuba. Okay, so now you go to okay, so Jamaica. Why do they worship Haile Selassie, the former emperor of Ethiopia? Okay, so from the 20s and the 30s. Well, Tafari was his real name, and Ross is king, so that's Rastafarian. That's in Jamaica. Talk about cultural appropriation, but it's all fine. It's all fine. So in Haiti, if you go there right now, in the voodoo ceremonies, there's Baron Samedi, the god of life and death, black top hat, cigar, rum, into women. And his wife is the only Caucasian voodoo deity, the red-haired Maman Brigitte, who is Saint Bridget of Ireland, and who was previously the Celtic goddess Bridget of Ireland. So we base this on real folklore. And I was actually lucky, my Haitians in the film were actually real Haitians. Jean Paul, male model from Haiti,
Mm-hmm.
and then Denise Milford was our Maman Brigitte. You'll see them both in Bloody Bridget 2.
Ah,
There's a sequel?
Oh, we're working on it right now. Yeah.
oh, somebody did make it all the way through the end of the credits. You get the sequel tease at the end.
Yeah. Well, here. Okay. So anyway, so part of the deal, I guess anyway, we've got a threesome going between Sam and I, Brigitte, and Pepe. And it kind of goes different ways. Okay, the devil's down below on his throne, jealous on his computer, all the fun they're having. So he shows up. God, how bold can I be? Anyway,
Not very bold.
Okay, we won't mention his 2-foot hard on as he jumps into the bed, and they wake up sore the next day, and then they're commanded. They have to retrieve this document from the leprechauns in Ireland. So they get the little Jewish lawyers, Dershowitz and Dershowitz Jr.
I love it.
Jr. have to go to Ireland and cover their yarmulkes with pointy hats. But Dad, they're going to find out. Put the hat on. Come on.
Oh my God. I love it.
That is fantastic. I can't wait. Well, I'll throw down because I watched it this morning too, because I just got the link, and yeah, like I say, fantastic. And the people that you have involved with it, you've got your Brian Usna, so you've got the really excellent gore, and then you've got the sort of Charles Band influence with Wexler, which I love me some Full Moon movies from back in the day. Those are some of my favorites. So it's just it's the stone soup of like all of the good ingredients coming together. And I love voodoo, and I've got my headscarf on today. So I enjoyed it a lot. I thought, Anastasia, you were great. I really, really enjoyed it. And the thing about you get the Jewish stuff in there, which is the sort of the trademark of Forbidden Zone, is you have this weird Jewish kind of side characters and undertones, and I love that. And I love was it Pepe that did the line from Forbidden Zone about
that was actually Squeeze-It Henderson's voice in the film.
Yeah. Wait, that was the Squeeze-It voice?
Matthew, right. Please, Mr. Devil, it's not for me, I'm pleading.
Yep.
that was Squeeze-It Henderson's real voice there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that you're still active, and I noticed that Matthew is in LA right now on Facebook casting for something, so I'm excited about that too. So it's like all my idols are still out there doing stuff, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, we're still working. Yeah.
Aren't we all?
I've had the busiest year. I published a novel this year. We're in a band, and with Bloody Bridget, we've been Canada to Brazil and everywhere in between. So it's almost like a traveling vaudeville act for Anna and I. She has to sometimes, like a theater where she'll have no rehearsal, hoping you don't fall off the stage. and I pick up local musicians, but I've been doing this so long. We know how to whoop a show together, that we produce them together.
Now, is this
I'm
with
sure
your band Mambo Diabolico?
That's a band we have in Los Angeles with Ego Plum.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's a whole different thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that's
loved Ego Plum's score was so great too. I could tell kind of where the Oingo Boingo stuff kind of cuts off and you get the Ego Plum, which was just really wonderful in this.
yeah. He and my brother worked together on our films. Ego's become the top cartoon meister in Hollywood. He does like every note of SpongeBob the last 2 years, plus
Oh.
what are the other two? Patrick Starr. He did another one, Cupheads. He did every note. He's doing a feature for Disney now, uh, Aztec Batman. So
Oh, cool.
he's become very in demand. I have to fight with Ego and Danny to pull them off what they're doing, but they always come through for us.
No, that's awesome. Aztec Batman, that sounds like the most culturally appropriative thing I've ever heard. Hey, I'm glad we have subversive folks working on it.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be a fun. A friend of ours, Juan Mesa Leon, directed it. It's good. I mean, we've seen a rough cut. It's really great.
Do you think Bloody Bridget, because what it sounds like, it has the recipe to be a stage musical. I've always wanted Forbidden Zone to be a stage musical because I feel like it deserves to be seen on stage. The same thing with Bloody Bridget. Do you think either one of those will ever be a possibility in our lifetime?
Here's the thing: Forbidden Zone came from a stage musical, and there was a group in LA, Sacred Fools, did it as a stage show 10 years ago. Uh, Bloody Bridget, I don't know. I'm currently my day job is I'm creating animation projects, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And a company wants to license Bloody Bridget as an animation project,
Oh.
where it would be like a weekly series. And if that happens, hell, we could certainly do a. You want to do a musical, honey?
No, we can try.
I could see it as like an Adult Swim kind of show. Like if it was to go into that anime
Totally.
realm.
Like Rob Zombie, El Super Beasto sort of a thing.
Yes, the haunted world of El Super Visto.
Well, I feel like there's no shortage of bad people that she can take care of, so
Oh yeah.
why
Which
not?
I love that angle of the story. That's it actually kind of reminded me of oh, it's so hot I can't think of the book. There's a book about a woman who gets turned and then she just goes out and just starts eating all these mofos and it's so great. So I was thinking about that. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
they all
Night
deserve it.
bitch.
They all deserve it.
Yes, it's awesome. I just dropped something interesting in the chat for you guys. One of my travels down to LA, I ended up holding that main cell from Forbidden Zone that says Zone because I visited the animator, John Muto, as well.
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
seen
he
him.
had that whole suitcase of all of those titles and all the like through the intestines, and I was just like, oh. Well, it's funny because his wife, of course, did the costumes for Hocus Pocus, which all the millennials are completely obsessed with. I don't know, I was too old for that, and so she's got her stuff over here, and I'm just like drooling on these Forbidden Zone drawings.
Cool, cool. Yeah, yeah, he did a good job, John Muto. Cool
I
guy.
love that animation style, that whole Max Fleischer. I mean, where would you guys have even seen those early Fleischer cartoons? Because they were, I mean, they'd have to have been on TV, I imagine.
No, it was I had an interesting background. I mean, we've had very different backgrounds, but I was born in Watts, and then we moved to Crenshaw.
Mhm.
So it was largely an African American environment, and my parents had been active in like civil rights back from the late 40s, but growing up in that culture in that time, in the 50s, is I probably had some homophobia that I wasn't aware of. And I went to San Francisco and there was a troupe called the Cockettes, Cockettes, and they had a monthly thing called the Nocturnal Dream Show where they'd send up old musicals. And those were my first exposure to Max Fleischer and Betty Boop and all of these things. And I had this huge epiphany And a month later, I was in a clown dress performing on stage with the Cockettes, and that was my first directing experience. But it was a whole epiphany of like coming into this world.
Can't imagine. Yeah, I mean, you're in the right time and place. When I say I want to go back to that time and place, that is the era where I would have wanted to see all this stuff. Oh, so much was happening.
Yeah,
How-
that
may
was.
I?
I think I did
Sorry.
3 shows with them, and then I went to Paris.
Speaking of Hocus Pocus, there's the connection with one of the Kipper kids is married to Bette Midler. How did you become familiar, or how did you meet and become familiar and friendly with the Kipper kids?
Well, we had mutual friends, and then I became a supporter of them and like put on some events with them. And one summer we did a Mystic Night show, and I had them in the intermission. And this was a fancy club in Beverly Hills. The owner basically gave me the keys for the summer. I built a stage, and the Kipper kids would perform butt naked. We're talking no jockstrap. Yeah, these guys were. I tell you, it was this was a hell of a show. It was a hell of a show, and I became friends with the German one. He's a German aristocrat named Martin von Hasselberg. The other one's actually English, and then Martin married Beth. God, he used to bring her to dinner. She would get up on our table and sing. Pretty wild, although I've lost touch with them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is crazy. I love Bing Bong Boom, Bing Bong Boom.
Yep. Mhm.
Oh, we just did a recent Forbidden Zone show at the American Cinematheque, and with the live band, we did Bim Bam Boom, Pequot Sepulveda, and Some of These Days. And Anna performed and did burlesque.
I mean, not only that, we also co-produce every single aspect of our live shows. So I'm talking about the, cocktails at the bar or the concession stand,
Wow.
the music that you're hearing when you're taking your seats. It's a fully immersive experience, not only getting to see Forbidden Zone on the big screen, imagine Danny, and Ricky up, huge on the big screen, but you get to watch the film with Rick in the audience. He performs his little number.
Yiddish at Charleston, I get on the stage and not shadow, actually have a mic and sing along.
Yeah, he might know the song.
So-
And then get a Q&A, a meet and greet. It's a really, really special experience, and we tour with this. So you're saying you haven't experienced it? Well, get us out there, book us. We love to travel, and I want to get it out to all the fans. And we've created this wonderful Instagram community where we do fan art Fridays, and we connect the fans, because most of his fans, like what I'm hearing is that people find, a bootleg copy in somebody's basement or in the back of a VHS store, and they don't even know that he's active online, on social media, that he has new films, that we're touring and making these incredible live events, supporting local talent, supporting local theaters and cinema, which is like my place of worship personally. So it's like we're trying to bring live performance back into the cinematic experience. It's like vaudeville. It's like the gags of William Castle. I love horror. I'm a huge monster kid. I'm just trying to get him out there. I'm trying to get him out to the fans. So, everybody can meet and have fun in the sixth dimension.
That's brilliant.
I love that you said that, because Reefer Madness, the movie musical, or Reefer Madness, the musical, just is doing that in LA with like Reefer Madness themed drinks, and you're sort of immersed into that world. And I think that what other musical deserves that but Forbidden Zone? To be immersed in the Forbidden Zone where you can't escape it, that's extremely magical. And what an opportunity.
Yeah. We've been touring with this, better side of a decade. And it's just, we're indie artists. We're trying to get it out there. So it's like wonderful when we get platforms like your wonderful podcast to share the info, because it's like beating your own drum, trying to get the info out to fans, because he has so many fans. And, you see it in the culture, the pop culture, how his film, Forbidden Zone has influenced cartoons. I mean, there's like a SpongeBob episode and segment devoted to, it was like SpongeBob and Squidward going through the pipes and stuff recently. There's all kinds of stuff,
Oh yeah, Cupheads did one as well.
Yeah, Cupheads is the show. Yeah.
I'm working in animation, and we have all these friends in the animation community. So we're around all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's great. So many, like, I'm glad that people are sort of slipping in little homages to it, because I was worried that society was getting a little too kind of homogenized. So, it's good that people are out there kind of doing the underground shit. Makes me happy.
Oh man, society, don't even get me going.
Yeah, please don't get going.
Yeah.
No, please don't get him going. I can tell he's waiting to go off. Yep.
Holly?
Yes,
Yeah,
Paul.
no, I love the ideas that you're presenting about the way that you're touring with the show. I run a Rocky Horror group with my wife out of New Jersey. We work through a nonprofit theater, and we kind of do live music before the show. We've had bands, we've had singers, we've had drag, we've had burlesque, and we try to make it an immersive experience, even though it's like not our movie. We're trying to keep essentially that midnight movie, not at midnight anymore, because no one does movies at midnight anymore, but we try to keep that spirit alive. And hearing what you're doing with your film and having that, music and acts and all that, it's just such a brilliant way to like bring people back to movies, because like we just touched upon, like things are so I won't say bland, but there's no danger to the art anymore. There's no counterculture. And seeing your works, going back to Forbidden Zone, to your most recent work, is that you haven't skipped a beat, and you're still irreverent, but it's still smart, and it's still like, you could say, like, off color in terms of like, you're not supposed to say these things anymore, and you're just going for it, and it's still like it's I guess you could say just you're just taking the piss out of life, and that's the best way to live.
Well,
Yes.
thank you. By the way, what city in New Jersey? We'd love to see your show.
Yeah, no, well, we have, I could provide you the information, because listen, I would love for you guys to come to the East Coast. I mean, we have New Jersey, we have New York, Brooklyn. I mean, you coming over here would, probably be a pretty big fun
A
night.
hit.
After the summer.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, not during the
Good
summer.
thing.
Ooh.
It's too
And
hot.
Helena, your theater, you're the theater that's like the holy grail of cult musicals. You can have them get in
Yeah.
contact with Richard and Anastasia. What's the name of that that theater again?
Oh, the Hollywood. Yeah, the Hollywood. I
Oh.
know some folks, but yeah, if you guys, I would take you from the Clinton Street, which is, God bless them, but it's this big, and the Hollywood is like this big, and that's where I want to see you guys for sure.
Oh yeah, we heard about the Hollywood
Yeah, I
Theater.
think we drove past and they said that it was a stop on the like vaudeville circuit, and I'm huge into film history and vaudeville, and I'm very, very big inspired by Lon Chaney Sr., and so I'm trying to bring all of that back,
Absolutely.
I love
So
that.
yes, I would love to perform there, and a stage would be great.
Oh yeah, they have a full stage there. I mean, it was a Cinerama theater back in the day, so it's a big venue, and there's Portland, if you guys can get back here, it's just such a film community. Like Anastasia, you would absolutely love it. Like the Hollywood does all sorts of horror reps and just deep cuts, and they have silence that are horror, and it's amazing. And I know I always tell James, and he's very jealous.
Yes.
I already know some good players there. From
I'm sure there's tons of creative, crazy people out here, bands and stuff. It's like the last little piece of the never-ending storyland, where it's like you make a wish on the little piece and you send it out, and you hope that it takes root. And that's where we're going. We're going for the kids, man.
cool.
The next generation needs to know.
You said you do fan art Fridays. So
Yeah, the Forbidden Zone
I was
page.
bored. I painted this like just.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. When did you do that?
Oh, I did this like a few years ago.
The screen. Hello.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not. There we go.
Yeah, you have to hold it right in front of your chest.
There we go. There
you go.
There she is.
This Suzu.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
and I think your tattoo looked really familiar too, because I have to approve everything. Like our team brings me stuff.
that's great.
I remember
That's
when we
great.
yeah.
Helena is fangirling.
Yeah, I mean, I got you guys, I got Metropolis, I got Xanadu, so it's like deep. I love you guys' stuff. So,
Oh, I love those films. Love those
oh
films.
yeah, I've got Phantom of the Paradise on this arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on
Yeah,
the
I've got
same
a little
wavelength.
bit of everything on here. So,
Um,
Good taste.
I don't know if you've ever been asked this question, but were there any musicals that were, because we love musicals, musicals are our niche. Were there any musicals that inspired you then and any musicals that inspire you all now?
Well, Pabst's 1929 Three-Penny Opera with Lottie Lenya
Hmm.
knocked me out. Just, I mean, it's the music is eternal. God, and the newer stuff, I love my brother's stuff. Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride. Uh,
Yeah, I always forget that those are kind of musicals.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we still need to do shows on those, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I know. It's an endless supply of musicals over here.
Well, Danny's writing away night and day.
I'm glad he's back. I'm glad that the disillusionment with the industry and music has finally worn off. Because I wondered, when they quit in 1995, I was like, oh, it's like right when I had discovered all of that. So I'm so glad to hear he's back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely back. Definitely he's writing. He has, well, I can't say where it is, but we've been there for staying at his place for the last week. I cook for the family. I grill. I grill for cast and
Oh,
crew.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't pay a lot, but
Got an impossible
I
situation that I
feed
dream
them.
about.
Yeah.
Just grilling with Richard Elfman and Danny Elfman and Anastasia. That's amazing.
Oh, I get
Wherever
to
you
come too. Yay.
Everybody,
wherever y'all
James,
decide to film Bloody Bridget next, Helena and Polly are in the States. They would love to be extras. I know they would love to be extras in your
please
movie.
kill me. Please murder me on screen in your next movie, please.
Yeah. Sure, come on out.
I
Create a
sent
victim.
some pictures of my grilling, but
I've worked on movie sets. I'm technically I'm a professional union editor, so like, hey.
really,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
good to know. Good to know.
Mhm.
I will have a whole army of zombie.
Love it. I love it.
I do want to ask, just because I love her, she was in Rockula and Crybaby and of course Forbidden Zone. Do you have any funny stories or one funny story about Susan on set? Because she just felt like she was just so larger than life and that she just enjoyed every moment of life that she lived.
God, where do I start with Susan Terrell stories? You have no idea. You have no idea. Uh,
Tell him the cigarette one.
oh, okay, so uh, she she and Hervé, they signed their checks back into the production. Uh, I had a few bucks, sold some real estate after the thing, and with some friends from the film, we took her to Paris and we're at some party with these stuck-up counts and countesses. And the French are experts at insinuating attitude. And it's right at that fine line where you call them on it, oh, no, 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 is it, whatever. But you don't insinuate attitude to Susan Terrell. So these stuck-up young countesses were giving her attitude, and I just knew, okay, when's it going to fucking blow up? So one of them is Susan smoking a cigarette. The girl asks, "Could I light my cigarette off your cigarette?" So Susan takes her hand, drags deeply, and then burns her wrist. And the girl starts screaming. Susan jumps on her. I pull her off, literally, like a cat trying to attack someone.
Cat
I
fight.
had to take her outside and pay a cab in today's dollars, a couple $100, to take her back to the hotel. But I've got other stories, but
I love that story. Like, I want to do that.
That makes me
I
love
hate
her
these
even
people
more.
so much.
Mhm.
There's a reason why
Yeah.
she's the queen of the sixth dimension.
well,
Right.
also she came from the Lincoln Repertory. She had this huge voice and this powerful presence. Now, Hervé Vilches was like a big soul in a small body. he'd enter a room and you'd feel his charisma. It was tangible, but he didn't have a big voice box. So they would have, Andy was a ladies' man screwing around. She was jealous. They'd have these big fights, and in the distance, you'd only hear her until you got close, and then you'd hear him as well, which was kind of surreal.
That is amazing. I love her quote in she said it was the first time I wanted to fuck a midget. I loved that quote in the extras on the DVD. It was so great.
Oh, she did. You have
Yeah,
no idea some of the things she said.
yeah. She also didn't chase my friend when he was like,
Yeah.
The more tame things.
Not the graphic descriptions and
it's interesting because my dear friend, he he used to date her as well. I mean, it's a small world. It's really strange, but of course he was like just, maybe over under, he's like over under 18, That was in the 90s. So
I mean, it wasn't the first time I literally had to pick her up and carry her away from a situation.
Oh,
Passionate woman, but
I will
great
ask.
actor.
I will ask, how does it make you all feel, both of you, when you see people dress up as the characters? As you see people make art of Forbidden Zone, people do sing-alongs, lip syncs online of. How does it feel to see people's devotion to this movie?
Well, I'm very honored, and it's bizarre. Like the cheapest, least commercial thing I've ever done is bigger 45 years later than when I did it. We just sold out the American Cinematheque, so it's very amazing. It's amazing. It's and I'm very grateful that they like me.
You always say that you're the king of the cult musical, tied with Tim Curry, and Susan Terrell is definitely the queen of the cult musical. I mean, people love Forbidden Zone because of how irreverent it is and how wonderful it is and just how colorful it is. And so many, like Polly and Helena can attest to this, so many young people are discovering it for the first time, and they're just becoming obsessed with it, and they're doing makeup and drag to it. And this is up your alley, Anastasia, doing burlesque to it and doing so many things to it. So it has to, I don't know, it might be weird to you all that it's taken so long to catch on, but it has found its audience and it continues to grow and to live. It has not stopped growing and living.
Yeah. Thank God for the internet.
Just wait till Forbidden Zone 2, because we have this family. It's not quite the same family as before, but the little boy is also like kind of a 50-year-old man, like a 13-year-old, the little beanie cap.
Like
and the little we have a king and queen, but the king is a little person. He's German. The queen is someone Susan Terrell like, and the princess has got the sexiest drop dead body and a monster piece. And she captures Stinky, that's the kid, and forces Viagra down his throat, and his thing is turning, and fire's coming out and vomits coming out. And he says he'll never jerk off again to God.
I do want to ask you, Anastasia. Anastasia, what was your introduction to Forbidden Zone?
I trying to think. I rented it or something like that. And then just fell in love with it and the universe and and now it's like it's my passion to make sure that more people find out about it or that fans know that these shows are happening and stuff. And it's like it's trying to find everybody, like social media is hard to nowadays. I feel like it's like you're looking up hashtags, but they only show you 100 of them. And it's like, I'm trying to get our team to like find all of the fans and stuff. But then also it's like, it makes it special too, that it's kind of like a quest to find information. You know what I mean? Like that's part of the fun journey of it is like, coming up on these like treasure troves, like you were saying that there are like things on YouTube and things like that, So yeah.
And what is the official Instagram account called so we can plug it and tag it?
I'm glad that you asked. It's called Forbidden Zone Official.
Oh yeah, we're familiar. We
I'm
follow
familiar.
y'all.
I've been on it. I've been on it a few
Yeah,
times.
there's Forbidden Zone 2 official, and Rick's on Instagram, so Richard Elfman. I'm under my stage name, Dahlia Demont, so it's tricky, but I'm there. And then Aliens, Clowns,
I-
Geeks, and Bloody Bridget is on there too, so
Nice. I will be
So
following up on those.
with your with the social media account that you have with Instagram, like I wanted to say, it has to feel weird, but it has to feel joyous to connect with all these people who love Forbidden Zone.
yeah.
And will love Bloody Bridget because it's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
We've
a
had
question actually about
huge,
that.
a huge
I'm sorry.
festival response on Bloody Bridget. And this company wants to license it for an adult animation
That's
series.
awesome.
And that'll put Bloody Bridget 2 into production at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Nice.
what's special about because we've been almost like a roadshow like tour
I love
like
that.
the film festival circuit, and so like generally we'll travel with the film and then we'll put on one of our live shows. And so this like with Bloody Bridget, I have a specific Bloody Bridget number where I literally rip a beating heart out of an audience member and chase them on stage and eat it in front of everybody to one of Danny's new songs from Big Mess, Cruel Compensation. And so it's very gory and bloody, and I'm like a monster kid, so I love it. And I do all my own effects because I
Wow.
do effects like professionally, so it's really fun
But
to
by
do.
the way, in Brazil, Anna got chased by a mob of mostly women wanting her autograph and like, oh, you should kill my boyfriend like that. Oh, it was so satisfying. Like
It was good. Yeah, it was just a lot of very supportive. They're like very passionate people and they really loved the film, and it was hard to get out of the theater,
well, I was in percussion heaven. As much as I love Canadians, they have better percussionists in Brazil. Who would have thought?
I have a question actually about the so the release for Bloody Bridget, but also your other films, and if it's had an effect on, I guess, not like on you, but just like knowing that like your films are now being seen probably by a larger audience. I know that the Forbidden Zone director's cuts on Tubi, Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks is on Tubi. Do you feel as though like streaming has helped you in terms of getting a wider audience than
Definitely.
physical media?
Obviously we prefer a live theater with the show and everything, but streaming is definitely great. In terms of taking it around the world. Actually, we haven't done anything distribution-wise with Bloody Bridget yet. We're seeing with this animation deal, like tying things together. But in the meantime, we're still doing festivals, and having just too much damn fun.
Yeah, and also a lot of people really love the physical media, the disc that we're, releasing. There's a lot of people, like me. Yeah, exactly. So it's like that's not dead. Everybody loves, well, a specific fan loves physical media too. So that's wonderful.
Cool.
That would be me. Yeah, all the physical media. Every show I talk about the importance of physical media. What I'm trying to see what label you guys partnered with. Are you guys sorry,
MVD.
MVD. Are you guys gonna do a Blu-ray of Bloody Bridget as well?
I'm sure we will. I'm
Nice.
sure we will. Yeah.
I will be on that like white on rice.
Awesome.
It's an
Yeah.
interesting talking about streaming. So I got to see your new film today because basically streaming, but talking about the Kipper
Private, don't share.
right, of course, never. But yeah, so the Kipper kids, we talked about Bette Midler's daughter. I just happened across on streaming her musical Give Me Pity, which I have to talk about. It was just such a weird 2 in 1 week of crossovers of weird cult musicals, with founding members of Forbidden Zone.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen that yet, but
It's amazing.
yeah, Harry Kipper's a talented guy, and Bette Midler, off the charts.
Yeah, it's insane.
Have there ever been talks to do merchandise in terms of like on the website, in terms of t-shirts or anything? Because people are so hungry for once they start loving a musical, a cult musical, they really are hungry for merchandise. And sometimes fans take it within, their own power and they make like fan art on Redbubble and TeePublic, etc. But has there ever been any considerations of possibly things of that nature for fans?
Well, I would say that for merch, we offer special, like short run, special unique merch during our live events. We don't really support like when fan art is going and like they're not licensing with Rick because he hasn't anything that's available right now has not been blessed by Rick. He hasn't seen a penny. And so hold off on all of that because he's the genius that should be seeing some stuff.
Well, along with the new soundtrack, like the Everything in the Kitchen Sink soundtrack, there'll be merch coming out with it, but it's all tied together, and that we're still a number of months off with that.
Yeah, but like one-off fan art, obviously we support, and I want to get eyes on that. That's the whole reason why I created the Fan Art Friday. It's just, I would say the ones that are actively selling multiple,
Right.
Like that stuff, we don't, I mean, but like he's an indie artist, it's not
Right.
like a huge, like film that has a bunch of licensed stuff,
Right.
So I would just say, like, think about it ethically, support your indie artist,
Exactly.
Oh, here's a Susan Terrell story. So the fight between the queen and the ex-queen. Okay, so we have Andy Warhol's Viva, who was brilliant, but her thing is she has an acid tongue. And boy, she could get under anyone's skin. So we had to shoot things out of order. And so I had to shoot the scene where she's on the ground and Susan is lying on top of her. And then she's going, oh, hurry up, hurry up. She's breaking my ribs. I can't take it. I can't take it. And I could just see Susan like seething and seething and seething. And then when it came to the fight, Susan beat the shit out of her. And I don't know if the evil director in me, I just let it go for a while and before I said cut.
Let's just
And
get this.
to break it up, I'm a boxer. I had to like insert myself between and get their nails out of each other's neck. Susan was the wrong person to stick it.
Years I tried to find that dress that she wears in the movie, and I finally last year I came across it. It was in a Fredericks of Hollywood catalog from 1978, which I have in my collection because I am that fan.
You should have worn it.
Have you worn it?
No, you should have worn
Oh,
it.
I'd have to remake it because I found the listing for it. There, I have seen the actual dress come up on a couple of vintage sites, but it goes for like, because of the connection to the Forbidden Zone, it goes for like thousands of dollars. But having now the visual reference for it in the Fredericks catalog, I could replicate.
Oh, nice.
Well, we kept one of her stiletto heels,
Oh,
the extra long ones.
oh my
And,
God.
like, someone was on the set with their mother or something, and I said, "Oh, those are really long heels. Like what can you do with them?" And Susan like waits a beat and goes, "Fucking them."
I mean, that's Susan. Yeah, that's pretty much all you can do. You're on your back.
And by the way, Hervé Prince would come and paint sets on the weekend. He didn't just kick his paycheck back.
Yep.
But
Him and Frenchie.
Pardon me?
Him and Frenchie would come and do sets, which is great.
Yeah. She designed a lot of the sets.
Yep.
But Forbidden Zone is so beautiful in terms of its sets, and it just represents when art was at the forefront of people's minds and creativity. And I think that's what you guys were talking about. That's what the word you're looking for, I believe. Creativity is missing these days. Creativity is so hard to find in art and media and film. And so that's why I applaud you, and your fans applaud you all, because you're trying to still be creative. And there's not much creativity these days. And so the fact that you're trying to keep this little film nurtured and to have it grow, but you're also creating new films and new experiences shows that you all have not lost your creativity, both of you. And I applaud you for still being creative in this uncreative world.
And your chutzpah.
I mean,
I
it's always,
applaud you for the
always,
chutzpah.
yeah, I mean, it's always a fight, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
It is, because your films and so many cult musicals that we love, it may take a while to find the audience, but the audience is devoted, and people, it doesn't matter if it's 1,000 people or 100,000 people, people will love what you do, and people will appreciate what you do because it's original, and it comes from your minds and your hearts, and it comes from a place of irreverence, and it comes from a place of creativity, and we need more. I think we need you all's work and you all's art now more than ever.
Well, thank you. We've got to get you all to some live shows, and I would love to see your live shows as well.
Yeah, get us out there. Have your theaters reach out, and let's discuss stuff, because we love to travel and we love to perform. So
Paulina and Polly,
Do what we can.
Well, we did. There were some weekends. One weekend we did 3 cities in. It might have been Las Vegas, Portland, and New York.
And then back to LA for a performance. So it was like 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts. And we're like very privately, we're homebodies, so it was a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of razzle-dazzle was needed for those weekends. But yeah, I mean, I feel like, yes, in the big studio movies, I'm not seeing a ton of original stuff, but in the like the indie and indie horror subgenres, I'm seeing a lot of really wonderful creators and ideas and enthusiasm and love of the genres. So I wouldn't say art is dead. I mean, out here in LA, there's a lot of subculture that's happening and fun things. So you just have to look for it. I mean,
yes,
like art is always trying, like people are always trying to censor art, and it's like you have to break free of that and, just get it done. The show must go on,
Yeah, I think we are in a whole new era of horror. Just I love the upcoming, some of the new stuff that's coming out finally is so fresh and so not stale. So it makes my little cold heart just happy to see things like Bloody Bridget and even things like Maxine coming out, where it's like it's a ripoff of Angel, but impeccable.
We haven't watched it yet, so don't tell us.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You are gonna love it. Love it. Yes.
I enjoyed X. I didn't love it, but I love Pearl.
Pearl is so good.
I'm super looking forward to Maxine,
Yeah, but I think that's a whole new forefront.
It's been so interesting the last few years, like we really love Barbarian. That I went in blind, and that twist and everything. Actually, those are the kind of I don't know if you guys have seen, but like Mother, those are the kind of characters that I want to play. Like I'm a very physical performer, and I love to get, gross and dirty and stuff. Like that's what I want to do.
Oh, by the way, Anna's been a pretty active scream queen. Her 3rd film in Las Vegas, she got to operate a flamethrower, which was scary.
Cool.
Nobody got hurt.
No, but anyway, another one she did in Las Vegas. Okay, so we're put up at the Bellagio Hotel, and they'd bring her in like about 3, 4 in the morning, dripping with blood, and I'd have to get her through the front door and up to the room with people staring.
Well, it was like, like the typical Las Vegas, let's say security people, where they're like kind of interested to see like, what is this pretty blonde doing covered in blood coming in at like 4 or 5 a.m. like stumbling through. And then they also don't want, they're like, we don't see anything, just to let it happen.
One of those, the old school, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Oh, exactly.
Not questioning.
Were you guys working with Tom Devlin out there on any effects for that since you were in Vegas?
God.
Yeah, I think that was for I work with Drew Marvick a lot, who's in Vegas, and I think they might have, I forget because I was filming at night, but I think they were working together on that film that Ricky was talking about, which is like part of an anthology called like 1031, and I was an Overkill. in that one where like I get
Now,
anyways,
now she
it
co-stars
gets
in
bloody.
Pool Party Massacre.
Yeah, we just shot that.
She's the final girl,
Yeah,
That-
or one of the two
one
final
of them.
girls.
Yeah.
Well, I just love how the whole horror community thing just comes full circle, and it's like, oh, you know this guy, you know this guy. It's awesome. And
Yeah,
like,
you were talking about Howard. I would say, Bloody Bridget is very Richard Elfman inspired. I mean, he's been working with Howard for like over 30 years, and so that type of filming and everything, that's very, very Ricky.
well,
So
how much he influenced did so Brian Usna, like how did he factor into all of this? I have to know.
Anna just ripped his heart out at a recent screening, by the way.
yeah, he was one of my victims in LA. Yeah, he was so fun.
Okay, well, he and I are best friends. We go back forever, and he's responsible for Forbidden Zone being reissued.
Oh,
It came out, all the music rights weren't cleared correctly. It was pretty much bootlegged for 20 years. And I didn't even know anyone had seen it until I put up my first website, and I'm getting hits from all over the world. So he had a friend who was a producer, Jack Murphy, who put up the money to clear the music rights, and he made me a partner, and then I eventually bought him out and ended up with the film. But Brian's responsible for Forbidden Zone. You wouldn't see it today without Brian. And
thank goodness.
I mean, we probably eat and drink together at least once a week.
Yeah, and Brian's a huge fan of Forbidden Zone. He loves it.
And we're fans of Brian.
Exactly.
We all live in the Hollywood Hills, so we're 5 minutes from each other.
Yeah, and we actually in Bloody Bridget we filmed. So if you guys have all seen, there's a scummy lawyer, and so I killed the lawyer at his house, and so that's actually Brian Usna's house. So if you can imagine, I've got Rick giving me notes, and then all of a sudden, like Brian Usna is like in the corner of me as I'm like going to bite the lawyer and stuff. It was like, because I'm such a fan of Brian and his work, and he's such a wonderful, guy. But it was very nerve-wracking because I had to do like loops around his house in these stiletto heels. And I'm talking like I got my steps in that day. But so it was funny because when I would do loops around, the camera didn't follow into the other rooms, but they would catch me on the way back. But Brian was in the kitchen with our other friend, who's like a producer director, John Penny, and he makes his own wine. And so they were drinking wine and would like wave at me when I was running, chasing after the lawyer. It was really funny.
But by the way, we just had I did a vampire novel, The Schlemazel of Sabrium, a Jewish vampire story. And we're doing the audiobook. Joe Dante has been doing one of the voices for us.
Oh,
And
wow.
some other, Barbara Crampton, we're getting some interesting people to do voices.
You're getting
When will that
horror
come out?
royalty on this.
Yeah, Anastasia.
And Bodie, his
Yeah,
son.
yeah. My son, Bodie Elfman, who was in Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks.
And also Shrunken Heads.
Yeah.
Also Shrunken Heads, that's right.
I love, again, the whole thing just makes my heart happy. Is like you have that whole connection of that full moon era, you have Yuzna, you have all these wonderful things coming together, and it just makes me happy.
Well, we ain't done yet.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all have exceeded our expectations. People love y'all, and people love the work, and people are so excited, and people are going to be over the moon that we were able to speak with y'all. But I know Polly and Helena are fangirling, even though they're trying to have composure and decorum. They love y'all, and they love the work, and I'm so glad that Forbidden Zone is continuing to evolve into other projects, and it's going to
Well,
continue
you're all
to
very
grow.
kind to have us, and let's all stay in touch. I mean, you
Oh
guys
my
are cool.
God,
You guys are-
yes.
Yeah, anytime you need a victim, I'm on a plane. You need to rip my heart out, please.
We're gonna take you
I
up
would
on
be
that.
honored.
I
I would
actually
honor-
I have a story here. I remember Richard, when you did a Cell 63 shadow cast of Forbidden Zone like a decade ago. I think
Oh,
it was with
yeah.
the California Rocky Horror Cast, and I have a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah, it was with one of the
West
local
Coast.
Rocky
I
groups.
was I was gonna fly that weekend to LA just to see it, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it.
Oh,
And
that was, it was
it's
such a
always
fun
been one of my
show.
biggest regrets that like I couldn't see,
Yeah. We invite like our audience and the Rocky audience. There's kind of an overlap.
yeah.
Overlap.
There's a lot of overlap in the just cult film community. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the fans are hungry for those kind of experiences and so loyal, like
Mhm.
so devoted,
Yeah.
like the Forbidden Zone fans. And I mean, I guess all of these kind of musicals, you know, it's like it hits you in the soul and it's like, okay, I feel seen, like, you know, this is such wonderful art, you know.
Yeah.
And
I'm
by the
going.
way, thank you for reaching out and for having us and giving us this platform to like chat about our crazy silly art. So thank you guys.
Of course.
Yes, and
Honored.
don't
Deeply
worry,
honored.
we'll edit out whatever we need to edit out. But please come to London one day. There's a very in London, there's the Prince Charles Cinema, and they do like Showgirls, and they do Batman Returns, and they do all kinds of cult musicals and cult films. And I think the Prince Charles Cinema would be perfect for Forbidden Zone in a Q&A, because sometimes they have the actors and writers and stars of those films come and do Q&As. The Prince Charles Cinema, if you, I don't know why they haven't renamed it King Charles Cinema, but the Prince Charles Cinema, if you ever come over to the old world, it would be perfect for y'all.
Well, if we do, you have to leave the Midlands and come to London, and drinks are on me. Uh, we want to hear a story.
Absolutely.
Now, you were born in Midlands, right?
No, I'm American. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
I was
That's
gonna
it.
say, I hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
When are we gonna talk about that?
That's
And
I
Atlanta
love that
has the
about James.
Plaza. And Atlanta has the Plaza Theater that does all these cult musicals. So, I mean, there's so many different art houses around the world that Forbidden Zone, you would be surprised at the fans Forbidden Zone has. Over here, I
Yeah.
hear it. Over in the States, it's beloved. And we're gonna make it happen. And whatever we can do to help in terms of contacts in our theaters. I know the Prince Charles Theater in London is the perfect home for Forbidden Zone.
James, you have to quickly tell them why you're in England and what you're doing your thesis on.
Oh my God. And I'll edit this out as well. Don't worry.
Oh, come on, no, you should leave this in. This is great. I love this about you. So he is in England. What are you doing in England?
You told me not to mention it that much anymore, because I it's like it's a tally of how many times I mentioned this woman.
No, do it. Go.
I'm doing my PhD on Dolly Parton.
Okay, and that brought you out there.
In England.
Yes.
He's doing his PhD on Dolly Parton in England, and I love this about James. It just makes me so
Great.
happy. It's like the weirdest
That's
friends that I have.
You're going to have a very interesting autobiography, sir.
Yes, and I'll be done next year. But I always told I grew up in the conservative South, but my family's come along to it. I told my dad, I was like, when I finish my PhD, I'll be a double D, a doctor in Dolly. My dad's be so proud that I'll be a double D.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Thank
from one
y'all
person
so
with an
much.
interesting autobiography to another.
Hey,
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so
Y'all are
much.
stars.
Stay in touch. I'm richardelfman.com, by the way. I just put up a website.
We will plug that.
Yep.
Please.
And the Instagrams. Give us all your Instagrams again if you want. We'll do whatever it takes.
Yes. Yeah, and if you guys actually have any connections to theaters or events that would like to book Rick, and you know, a lot of times we'll do like a double feature or a triple, you know, like there's a lot of options that we offer, but it's like it's more about like supporting the local talent and supporting the local cinemas, and then getting this, you know, Forbidden Zone out to the fans and being able to have these like immersive experiences with Rick. So
and this will be edited out as well, but I know the editor of an Atlanta magazine, it's a gay magazine called Wussy, and they put on Best Little Whorehouse, Earth Girls Are Easy, Grease 2, and they always have a Q&A in Atlanta, Georgia at the Plaza Theater, and they do like all these hostings, so that would be great. And it's Wussy presents Forbidden Zone, Wussy presents Best Little Whorehouse, Wussy presents Rocky Horror. And so that would be a really great, they would love to hear from you. It's a really big deal in the South. So I'll put that in the email.
That sounds fun. From a cocky to the wussies.
Yes, you're talking to the Southern wussies. Thank y'all so much. You have exceeded our expectations.
Okay, well, thanks for having us.
Thank
Thanks
you
for being
so
with us.
much for saying
Yeah.
yes.
Forbidden Zone forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Okay, chat soon.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.